Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Time, and I come here today from the vast edges of the time-space continuum, and I spend most of my days and nights, and sometimes in my sleep, contemplating the vast infinity and wonder that is time. Just before I begin, I just need to say this. There's like a meta thing going on. Dr. Time, talking about time, and there's a timer. I had to just get that out of my system. And you may be wondering right now, why is some half-Asian hipster in a white wig speaking to you? People have asked me this for thousands of years. In order to contemplate obscure, hard-to-fathom topics like time, you have to make ridiculous objects in order for people to have inquiry around it. So I come here today as a kind of cognitive hack at the beginning of today's events in order to open your psyche up to time. Oh, that button. My own particular fascination is the multitude of ways in which time affects humans and the ripple effects that come across culture and societies as a result. I'm just going to borrow a phrase from David Mitchell, who's the author of Cloud Atlas. And he says, "Time is to us what ocean is to marine life, only more so." Humans swim in these circles of time, day and night. We move in waves, as the ebb and flow of life moves across time. And time, like the ocean, never stands still. It's always unfolding, progressing forward. I'm an internet nerd. Even gurus are internet nerds. And I came across this drawing, and it was entitled simply "The Study of Time." Now, drawings stand still, but often they reveal their messages to you slowly. And when I saw this, it kind of synthesized a number of things for me. So firstly, is that nature doesn't know time per se, but it does know rhythms and cycles and movements. But the human experience of time is actually sometimes completely different. The way we construct time, we live in the shadows of our clocks. We use these terms called days to measure how we revolve around the sun. We have these things called years to measure our slow progression throughout time. It's the age-old question, how old are you? We have these things called decades that help us see the slow movement of culture. This is why we say the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. We have ages to measure the rise and fall of civilizations and epochs to describe cosmic time. And then the other thing is, when the body and the brain experience of time, that's completely different. Runner's high is like flow state, or when an artist is at his best, time disappears. Or, when someone's depressed, time can feel slow and yucky and thick. But for a baby who doesn't have those mental models around time in its head, time feels infinite, kind of like this presence. Then, of course, there's language, which is, my most thing I love talking about. Time is actually the most commonly used noun in English, according to the Oxford English Dictionary. Google it if you need to check. And so I kind of chuckle to myself in my kind of time elitism. Look at all the ways people describe time. Time flies. Don't worry, everyone. There will be next time. Time heals all wounds. I'm having such a good time today. #Purpose 2016. The ancient Greeks described two forms of time. Chronos, referring to time of the clock, and kairos, referring to time of the now. Chronos lives in blocks and units, and kairos lives in moments and spaces. Chronos says it's 8:36. Kairos says that's a beautiful rainbow. Chronos moves from A to B, but Kairos is simply this. So as we kick off today, I would like to offer 3 philosophical inquiries, 3 invitations as we set the scene, as Matt just did. The first is this idea of cathedral thinking, which we'll be exploring in more detail very shortly. And from my own understanding, it comes from the idea of how cathedrals were built in the past. You know, these great collaborations where artists and clergymen and builders would come together and build these things that they knew that would go beyond their lifetime, that their visions would require strangers of the future to build on. And what I like about this idea is it changes our kind of perception of time, and it invites us to step into longer and larger timescales. And what I mean by larger is it sort of expands our ideas around legacy, around purpose, around the impact we want to make in the world. And of course, longer, not just decades and years, but generations. You know, there's that 7th generation principle. How is the work we're doing today helping and supporting the 7 generations before us? Because we are sort of like living elders in a sense. And the soil the footprints we walk on is the soil that future generations are going to walk on. The second thing is a bit of a perception shift. Is photos like these remind me of the majestic nature of time, and I like to think that the photo didn't capture time, it only showed us it. So in that sort of same sense, as we start today, I'd like you to be open, I suppose, to the different time field that we're going to enter into. Finally is something we're going to do right now. In Shintoism, anyone who's been to Japan will see these things. They have these things called toris, and what they represent is the entryway from the ordinary world to the sacred one. And I like this particular visual because you'll notice they have time markers on the side. And so what I thought we'd do is, as we enter from ordinary time to purpose time, I thought, well, why don't we hack Chronos and Kairos? So what I mean by that is, in a sec, I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes. And when you think 1 minute is passed, not by ticks and tocks, but by Kairos, I want you to put your hand up. And I'm going to be on Chronos time, and around 1:15, I'll say the time is ready. So, yeah, Matt, do you have the timer? And you can open your eyes when you think 1 minute is passed. And some of you will actually be early, others will be a bit later, but I promise you some of you will be precisely on time. So here we go. No ticking, talking, only feeling. Go. Oh wait, no. Sorry. See? Okay, go. Oops, that was 1 minute. I did say 1:15. Okay, so now that I've gone over time, we've gone from ordinary time to purpose time now. So I hope you have, I wish you all the best, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing time today. Thank you.